What's up guys, today we're going to be going over the new Warlock exotic in Renegades. This scene is kind of nasty and has a really crazy build with it. So in this video we'll be breaking down how the exotic works, going over the build, and just talking about how good it is. So first, how do you get the exotic? You just do the legendary campaign to guarantee to get it, and I think if you don't want to do the legendary campaign, or if you're on a second or third character, you can instead get exotic keycards to drop randomly while playing the Lost Frontier, and those will allow you to gain access to certain areas on different jobs that have a chest that should give you the exotic, I believe. Please confirm or deny that in the comments below, but I think that is the way if you don't want to do 3 legendary campaigns to get the exotic on your second and third character. And the one on Warlock is all about suspend. So breaking down how it works, there's going to be like 3 different parts. First, while a Strain Super is equipped, casting your Rift will suspend nearby combatants. So we just need a Strain Super, which means we can play Prismatic or just base Strain. And now with our Healing Rift or Empowering Rift, when we place it down, it will suspend things nearby. Then the second part of it is you do damage over time to things that are suspended. And when they break free from a suspension, they will suffer additional damage. And this damage isn't like a crazy amount, but it kind of helps here and there. A lot of the red bar stuff that you suspend will just die from this dot or when they break free, so not too bad. And the last part is about healing. So while enemies are suspended and you do damage to them over time with that dot effect, it'll kind of be like a lifesteal, and that will return health to you. And this is, once again, not a lot on a single target, but it does stack with every single thing that is suspended. So once you start suspending a lot of things in the room, you're just going to be constantly getting health back so fast. It's like a restoration times 3. It is very strong. And then when you defeat suspended targets, you gain a chunk of health instantly, and it is a lot. It's practically like having Devour whenever you kill suspended targets. You just can't die with this build. Just constant damage over time that will heal you in lifesteal, and just constant like Devour like health on every final blow. So right off the bat, this exotic seems pretty strong. And now for the build, we really have 2 options. One, we can start off with Prismatic just using the Strain Super. And while I do think there will be a cool variant of this build on Prismatic, we definitely want to be on Strain to build into suspend as much as possible. So along with our Rift being able to suspend now, we can use Mind Spun Invocation with the Shackle Grenade. So when we consume our Shackle Grenade, every final blow will suspend, and this build has been around forever, different variations of it. Now with this, we can make everything constantly chain suspend. And once again, all that will be proccing the new exotic perks, doing damage over time, getting health back, and all that good stuff. And on Strain, we have a few ways to make our Rift even better. We have Weaver's Call to spawn in the 3 threadlings every time we use our Rift. And for this build, I like to use Empowering Rift compared to Healing Rift. And that's because we already have a lot of healing right. And there's been a few buffs to Empowering Rift. The first being that when you're actually in Empowering Rift, you'll get increased ability recharge rate. And then everything you defeat while in the Rift will grant additional ammo generation to your special and heavy. So just in case in this build, if you don't get your Rift back or your nade back when you need to re-pop it for Mind Spun, being in the Empowering Rift will help you get those things back. And now one of the most important parts is actually the Fragments. One of the main reasons we're playing on Strain compared to Prismatic is we first have Thread of Mind. Defeating suspended targets grant class ability energy, and this is a lot. And with how every single thing will be suspended in this build with Mind Spun and placing a Rift over and over, you can very quickly chain your Rift just from placing it down, suspending everything. Your threadings will kill it, clean everything up with your weapons, and you just have your next Rift instantly. And then combining that with Thread of Generation, where doing any sort of damage will generate grenade energy, you will have your Shackle Grenade whenever you need it once your timer expires for Mind Spun. And our final 2 fragments, first will be Evolution to increase the damage and travel distance of the threadlings. Threadlings just got a buff where they're a little bit smarter, and so they should be hitting things more often. Combining with this fragment, very good. And the final fragment is kind of a free slot. I use Warding to get Wolf and Mill going, just for some extra DR. All the DR plus the healing from suspending will make it very hard to die in this build. And then looking at our armor mods to help the uptime on really everything. First, on her helmet, I have a kinetic siphon or a siphon matching whatever weapon you want to use. I have a special ammo finder or heavy if you want, and then a dynamo will be placed on a rift very, very often in this build, so definitely use that. I have a grenade kickstart and an impact induction and a bolstering detonation. Sometimes this stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. There's not really much to use in for our gauntlets outside of the kickstart. I have a charged up ammo generation and a loosened blade if you're using the lightsaber. I have stacks on stacks, absolution, and insulation. And finally, distribution, utility kickstart, and Reaper. Reaper is going to be probably the most important mod overall. Just have a way to guarantee a orb every time you use your rift. And from there, that is practically the entire build. You can really use whatever weapons you want. You could use the new exotic machine gun. I'll be making a video on that here in the near future, so I will skip that for now. I think it will work pretty well in this build. But for like the ultimate version of this build, I think you want to use the lightsaber for two reasons. One, it just works really well with Mind Spun in this build, where just deflecting stuff at range will kill it and then make everything nearby suspend and have this like crazy chain reaction of just everything at range just being suspended. It is pretty good, and you combine that with the sword throw to do the same thing. It really takes advantage of Mind Spun with Shackle Grenade very, very strongly in this build. And the second reason I like to use a lightsaber is for like the super advanced version of this build, and that's going to revolve around a few of the artifact perks. First, we have Power from Pain, where rapid final blows against weakened combatants grant you Devour. And then to the right of that, we have Singularity Blade, where when we have a Void Elemental buff, all of our melee and sword hits will weaken. So with this, we can weaken targets, and then from the art perk, killing those weakened targets will get us Devour on any subclass in the game. And so my initial idea behind this was to get over 100 class stat to get an overshield when we place down our rift, but unfortunately this overshield is not technically a void overshield, so it does not work. But I did not give up there. What you can do is put on a primary or heavy with repulsor brace, so when we defeat a void debuff target, we will get a void overshield, and for that you just need something like Destab or Demoralize to put a void debuff on the target. If you do have repulsor brace plus Demoralize, that'll probably be the best combo if you have a weapon with that. So the whole idea of this is to proc a void overshield with repulsor brace, then deflect or throw your sword when you have the overshield, and that will weaken targets and proc Devour. And then from there you can just use the build like normal, go back to using Rift and your Mind Spun Shackle Grenade. And while having Devour is kind of overkill healing wise for this build, and you usually have a grenade often enough where that isn't necessary either, the point of this is once you have Devour, all of your sword damage, either by attacks, throwing it, or deflections, will then weaken stuff, and weaken is very, very strong. So it's not really about having Devour, it's more about Devour allowing you to weaken with the sword. And the final thing to note in this build is you want obviously at least 100 class stat and 100 grenade. Having higher than 100 for both doesn't do too much. If you do want to go higher than 100, definitely put it into class for the overshield. I wish it would be an void overshield to work with artifact mods, but it doesn't. But it's still not bad. And then I just try to go for like 100 super, 100 weapons, and just kind of even everything out. Going above 100 in stats isn't that important in this build. You just want it for the grenade and class ability uptime from 0 to 100. And yeah, overall this build is absolutely wild. I mean, you just chain suspend everything in the game, constantly have your rift. All this suspending will do damage over time, life still give you health back, give you chunks of healing on killing them. The lightsaber works really well for blocking and throwing it to proc the suspend at range. It's just a really, really nasty build that you should definitely be trying. Now I'll link it down below. And yeah, I think that's me it for the video. There might be some gameplay left. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.